Alright, good evening. This is the next video. I'm going to show the correct threading order and how to get the needle on and get it threaded and get it ready for sewing. I'm going to be using my heavy duty upholstery or button thread. This is a black. I will be threading it through the machine, and then we will also be putting in a needle. So I'm going to start with the needle because it doesn't have one in there. It's always good to have one in place. Use leather sewing needles. These needles I purchased off of Amazon to replace the one that came with the machine. The machine says that these are 16-100, 15x1. So I found that the equivalent are 13 or 135x5 or 125-20. This will give you the good use. These are made in Japan. You get about 10 of them for about $12, so they come out to about $1 a piece. You will want to be using or get yourself a good supply. One of those needles for about every other job that you do, and they might break. These needles have a triangle point. This machine will go through 1/2 inch of leather. Please be careful. Do not put a finger in there. It will go through. If it does go through your finger, don't yank your finger out. Rotate it until it comes out of your finger and then pull. I only say this because we've already seen it happen. Not here, just at another workshop. Alright, so here is the place where you put the needle, just standard, and any other sewing machine has it. It's got a flathead screw on it, so you'll need to loosen that one up. And the needles have a flat side on them and a half round portion. The flat will go against the bar so that your hole is facing left to right. And we're going to slide this in, give it a tighten. And that's it. All right, needle's in place. Now it's dangerous. Okay, so now we're going to take the thread from the top portion, and it's going to go through the top bar, the topmost hole, and come down. Now we're going to go around and around the springs and come back up. If you feel right now, right here, that your wire's not coming out or your thread's not coming out like it did to me, watch the back of this. The thread sometimes comes off and comes underneath here, and as you're going, it pulls and it gets wound underneath. If it gets wound underneath, it's going to snap. So always make sure that you got this thing coming off the carriage or off this thing in a way that is easy and free-flowing on this end, so that you don't have a problem, or you will have a lot of line snappage. It'll break on you, you'll be real frustrated and everything. Okay, so right now I've got it in the tension spring, which you can graduate with this screw. This bolt here holds the lever, and this is the mechanism for the shoe, the foot that goes up and down. This spring is the one that allows the thread to be pulled up and down as you sew, and gives it tension so that it pulls a little bit of thread as you go along. This bar is the one that pushes up and down the foot. This is where the needle goes up and down, and it sits in the middle. One of the things we have to do to thread this machine is we have to go inside this tube and go down, come out the side through the needle, and thread from this side to the inside of the machine. So I'm going to zoom this back, and I'm going to do this entire process here. Hopefully it's all visible. So across the spring, there's a little loop here on the outside. We're going to go from bottom up. We're going to go behind the bar to the midpoint of the machine. We're going to go through the loop of the metal. And now, whenever we want to pull wire, we have to pull from here because it's going to be tensed, and it will not give us because here it's trapped. So unlike other, it's not going to be a free flow until you pull. I've created a piece with a notch at the end of it, which is a brass piece. There's a little notch here at the very end, kind of like a threading needle. And that I place over the thread so I can push it down the barrel and I can thread my machine a little easier. So I lay this across the top here, shove it down, and it's almost exactly the size of the column. So this goes all the way down until I see some thread coming out the bottom here, and just pull it out. So now the thread's down. So now this thing tends to roll and kind of pitch down on me, so I've learned to use my finger on the screw here to keep it in place. And if you cut your thread just before you do this, it should have a nice tip to it. The holes of this are pretty good, and you can thread it nice and easy. So we went from this side, from left to right. So now it's fallen through the hole. We're going to lift the shoe up, the presser foot, and now I'm going to get the thread underneath. So now the operation is down here. So now I'm going to do the first crank. I'm going to hold the thread a little bit. I'm going to go 1, down, and up. And hopefully, if I have it in the right position, I will have this thing catching. And if it's not catching, I'll figure out why. Alright, so this thing is installed incorrectly, and that's why it's not lifting up. So I will have to rotate this the other way so that the head portion is in the right spot, so that this will then catch and the thread will go. So if you have that mistake, you have to readjust a few things, and that will just take a little bit of time here. Will obviously make me look bad in the video, but that's what you want to know. Every time you get a mistake, how do I fix this? That just means that this thing was rotated a little too much and the timing is off. It does not want to cooperate with me today. And now that I have a needle in place, I'm not happy about putting my hand in there. There we go. So let's try this again. All right. Now we got it. As you can see, now it pulled the bottom thread up. So now we have everything coordinated and the machine is ready to go. So if you have that problem that it's not catching, that means that this is in the wrong position. You got to rotate around until you get it set. Now your machine is ready to go, and now you can work it. And so the next video will then show a sample piece of leather that I have. I will be sewing it together to show the function of it, and that will be the last video for this series, and hopefully you'll be able to understand this machine better by using it.